I find financial planning and investing to be quite intimidating. In fact, kind of almost terrifying. And it can be complicated, right? I'd say arguably more so now than ever. Inflation is hitting our wallets so hard. And I would say knowing how to save and spend is probably trickier, but also more important than ever. Two women, though, are using social media to help teach Canadians the best way to invest their money. Jessica Rowat and Colleen Kormos created Two Girls Investing. It's a TikTok account, and it teaches financial literacy. It has brought in nearly 50,000 subscribers in less than a year, so they're doing something right. Jessica and Colleen join us now. Hello.
Hi.
Do I have both of you? I've got both of you? Okay, great. Jessica, let me go to you first. Tell us a little bit about how this all got started.
Sure, yeah. Colleen and I have been longtime friends, and we spoke about money a lot and investing and just financial planning, and then we realized there's such a gap in education for Canadians on these subjects, and there's nowhere to really go other than financial advisors for this information. So we've learned a lot on our own, and we decided to just start this up to get some messages out about finances for more Canadians so that everyone can start learning about this stuff and just learn that, finances and investing is something that we can all do and learn.
Awesome. Colleen, tell me a little bit about both of your backgrounds and why you feel this is so important.
Yeah, so Jess's background is in healthcare and mine is in the public sector, and we don't come from a traditional kind of financial advisor background. But we both, on our own ways, have educated ourselves with several different, books, podcasts, news articles, and just trying to understand it in Canadian terminology, which is often a barrier that I came across when I was learning about investing. And we have different lifestyles, so it's very unique. Jess has been investing for several years and is extremely knowledgeable in it. And myself, I'm more of a beginner. I've paid off a lot of debt. I have a family and a house. And so we just really complement each other on our social accounts that I kind of speak to those that are starting out and can kind of, if there's things that I don't understand, then we do a video on it and share that with Canadians.
I really like this idea that you both bring very different perspectives to the table because, it's not like it's one size fits all when it comes to financial, to investing in financial advice. Colleen, keeping with you for a second, like even just going to sit down and try and talk to a financial advisor, I think people don't know where to start. So with your approach, with what you guys are teaching, where do you start?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was my experience too. I went to a financial advisor, and the language they use is often intimidating. It's not language that we understand, and it's not in our day-to-day. And so it can be a little bit scary. So I think accounts like this, picking up books, podcasts, news articles, and just learning about it in Canadian terminology is a great way to start. And then when you go to your financial advisor, you have a little bit more of that background knowledge and skills and can be a part of the conversation.
Jessica, what would you say is, like, I could make a list in 2 seconds of like 14 things that I find scary about investing and that I probably don't really understand about investing. What would you say are the things that come up most commonly, either misunderstandings or things that people are just genuinely intimidated by?
Yeah, I think a lot of the things that people are scared about when they think of investing is they think that they have to pick individual stocks. Whereas there's a kind of investing called long-term passive investing, which is what most Canadians should be doing, where you don't really need to pick individual assets to invest in. There's things like exchange-traded funds that include a whole bunch of assets in one package that totally lowers your risk. So it's not as risky as a lot of people think it is. And another thing that people have trouble with is thinking about it long-term. I think a lot of people think, they want a get-rich scheme, whereas investing is really kind of a long-term game. So that's kind of one of the barriers that people have with starting out investing.
Yeah, the long-term thing is we can't wrap our brains around it because we're always trying to, look at the here and now. And especially with things being as volatile as they have been lately, that panic sets in as soon as you see that things start to go down. So is that kind of the main thing you would say, Jessica, is like, don't panic, it just like slow and steady wins the race?
Yes, exactly. Actually, I just did a video on this. I haven't posted it yet. But it is a long-term game, and riding out those short-term up and down market volatilities is probably one of the hardest things for people to do with investing. And it is tough because when you see your money going down, it's fear, and people make rash decisions when they're feeling that way. So if we can teach people to kind of think long-term and think about the bigger picture, that's definitely one of the messages we're trying to put out there.
So again, we're speaking with Jessica Rowat and Colleen Kormos. They created Two Girls Investing. It's a TikTok account that is teaching financial literacy. I'm curious whether you've sort of encountered any sexism just with it being called Two Girls Investing. I feel like the financial world is still, unfortunately, largely viewed as a man's world. Of those 50,000 subscribers, do they tend to be more women? Or Colleen, why don't you walk me through this? Have you encountered any sexism?
Our account is mostly focused towards Canadians because it is in the Canadian terminology. I would say the majority is women learning to invest or are already investing. Whether we've encountered sexism, I would say on a very low scale.
Good.
But what we are trying to do is educate women on investing because the majority of women are not investing currently, and a lot of it is left to the men. So we are trying to kind of remove those barriers as well and provide the education to women so that they can also take control of their finances and increase, women's wealth and investing as well.
Like, I do feel like that perception is changing bit by bit, but for whatever reason, it's like if you think of, a financial planner and an investment advisor, you immediately picture a guy. So I really love that you guys are helping to sort of change that perception. Jessica, sorry, go ahead. Were you about to say something?
Oh, I was just going to note, we came across a very interesting fact that only 20% of women in Canada are investing, and that's in comparison to 80% of men. So we knew when we came across that we have to kind of put a little bit of emphasis on women, because not only is there a gender pay gap, there's also this gender wealth gap as well, where women, even if they're making less, they're also not investing their money and growing their wealth at the rate that men are. So we're definitely, I think our followers are 80% women, 20% men. Mm-hmm. And although we do want to emphasize that, financial education is for everyone, for sure, we're definitely putting a bit of emphasis on women to try and close that gap.
Excellent. And the fact that you guys have nearly 50,000 subscribers, and this has happened in less than a year, shows that there's a need for this. There's a demand for this. So then for me, it begs the question, what's next for you guys? I mean, TikTok, you can potentially reach a huge audience. Are you going to keep it to TikTok, or what are your dreams? What are your next steps?
Well, our next step is a podcast, actually. Mm-hmm. So we're getting that in the works because there is a large audience that doesn't use TikTok. That we'd like to reach as well.
Should I admit right now that that's me too? Like we joke about it all the time that I'm the least cool person on the show. But I figure I get my TikTok stuff most of the time. If it's a big deal and people are talking about it, then it's also on Instagram. And I'm like, I don't have the time as a working mom to add another social media thing to my lap, to what I've already got going on. So I love that you're thinking that way, because we're not all on TikTok. Please go on.
Yeah. And if you're trying to decrease your screen time, throwing an audio podcast on is another way to get the information. So, yeah, that's the next move for us, and we're working on that, hopefully to have that out by the end of the year.
Excellent.
Potentially.
And will it be called the same thing, Two Girls Investing?
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, I wish you both continued success. Clearly, you've tapped into something that people, they need and they want, and I will include myself in that. I'm going to be checking it out. I very much appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for having us.